And at 10, stored Susie. While yes, storing the body of a child isn't really Chica's fault, it's still something that she did. And this list is about the scary things Chica has done, not necessarily the things that she chose to do. And I think storing the corpse of the first missing child is definitely scary, and if not for the actual act of doing it, then for all of the confusing lore that came afterwards. No matter, the fact that an animatronic is storing a dead body is certainly a scary thing. I mean, if you want to look at me and then say that you would be fine if your child was being entertained by a robot filled with a human corpse, that's certainly your own prerogative. I mean, it would scar the kid for life, but that's fine, I guess. Whatever. I wouldn't be happy if my kid was playing with a corpse, that's for damn sure, but not only that example, let's say you went swimming in a pool and then someone drops a body in at the other end, okay? Whether you be in the shallow end or they're in the shallow end, it doesn't matter, okay? Would you stay in the pool despite it being on the other side of the pool? No, you would get out, okay? It's the same concept here. It's a mystery how the smell of these bodies didn't ruin the atmosphere in the pizza joint, okay? And we all have like a corpse to water ratio that we're fine with, but my animatronic to corpse ratio is 1 to 0. That means one animatronic with no corpses. And at 9, the first. Okay, now while being the vessel that stored Susie may not have been her fault, this one definitely is. In Ultimate Custom Night, every time you die, you get a voice line from the character that killed you. And thanks to Chica, or I guess specifically the withered Chica version, we get the line, quote, "I was the first, I have seen everything." Which while now does seem to indicate that she was the first of the missing children, originally we thought that this meant that she was the first victim ever. Which, while not being scary for the average player or for someone who doesn't care, to me and anyone who thinks about the lore on a more than normal basis, and at that point was making a living from it, that was absolutely terrifying for me, okay? I mean, like, it didn't really make sense for it to work that way, since Charlie, according to the books, died in 1983, which is before the missing children's incident, but other than that, in our brains, it meant that everything that we had established, everything we knew, was wrong, until we figured out that it just meant that she was the first of the missing children, allowing Charlie to still be the first victim overall. But no matter who you think was the first, we know that Afton wanted to kill prior to his kids dying, as evidenced by Baby and the other fun times, so yeah. And at 8, the logbook. The survival logbook was in essence just a giant scavenger hunt for the name reveal of the spirit possessing Golden Freddy, which is a lot of trouble to go to for a character with little significance aside from being inside a popular animatronic. Some people interpreted this as Golden Freddy having 2 spirits, some assumed that this made Cassidy the one you should not have killed, but what bothered me the most was the final image in the logbook. That image being of a broken down Chica design never seen before. This wasn't withered Chica, it wasn't a broken Chica from FNAF VR, it was a whole new destroyed version of Chica that confuses the living hell out of me. Like, why is it here? What is its significance? Is it significant at all? If not, what was the point? There are so many questions that were created and caused by this one page that honestly, this could have been the worst thing that she's ever done. But I'm sure that you'd all get mad at me for that one if I put it at number 1. And while I do enjoy making people mad, I could do without the hate comments in my Instagram DMs. But honestly, if you're not mad at me though, you should go follow that if you haven't. And at 7, kills her brother. Or at least tries to. You see, since we play as Michael in every game of the original series with the exception of FNAF 4 and 7, Michael is the one in danger. And since Baby's after us as the player in FNAFs 5 and 6, she is legit trying to kill her brother. Especially in FNAF 6, holy damn. And she does so in such a menacing way. Being able to absolutely slaughter your brother without a moment's thought is probably one of the most messed up things Baby could have done. But if we're being honest at this point, she was kinda nuts at that point, so I think that it's better to put this higher on the list. Like, honestly thinking about this, in the 5th game she wasn't really trying to kill him, just get inside him. Which sounds awful now that I say it out loud. Oh my god, what the flying f are these games? But in Pizzeria Simulator, she definitely wanted to kill you. And during her final speech, she even thinks that it's what her father would want. So needless to say, she's pretty out of it at this point, which makes it slightly more forgiving, but not so much. And at 6, Nightmare. Okay, now technically I guess that this also wasn't her fault, but did she really have to have a nightmare form? Like, come on, okay? The Phantom version was already messing with my groove, and I'm sure that currently you're thinking, what groove? And if you are, you clearly haven't watched enough of our videos, because Chica's my girl, man. You should subscribe so you know more about my really stupid ongoing jokes that are probably going to be used against me if I'm ever on trial. I know that technically the nightmare version of Chica is created in the mind of crying child, since, you know, it's a nightmare, but come on, okay, couldn't have been like a nightmare toy Chica at least, or I guess technically those hadn't come out yet since this was before the missing children's incident got the place shut down, since it was 1983 and not 85, the toy animatronics were after that. Jesus, man, okay, this whole thing is causing me just a load of headaches, and not only is her nightmare form itself scary, but it's also scary because there are people that still think that these are real physical animatronics. They're not, okay? They're nightmares. They haven't terrorized anyone else, especially in the real world, and the only reason they show up in Ultimate Custom Night is because Crying Child is the one that's creating the situation for William. So yes, they were nightmares. Nightmares. And the only other time they appear is in the Freddy Fazbear Virtual Experience, the in-universe VR game from Help Wanted, so that's also not real. Halfway through into number 5 doesn't kick us out. Okay, when you think that your friend is supposed to protect you, having them suddenly rip you out of their chest and kill you is certainly a surprise. And while you may be thinking something like, well, that's your own damn fault for running out of power, you know what? I would normally agree with you on that, okay? But when this game establishes right off the bat that if Freddy runs out of power, he will kick you out, when he doesn't in the future, it's pretty goddamn stupid. Like, whatever. Okay, yeah, I shouldn't have let him run out of power, but let me tell you a story. I was playing through Security Breach and I ended up getting stuck inside of Freddy. This was my first time playing, and like I had gotten into a recharge station, and when I came out I was unable to exit the animatronic. So after being kicked out the first time that Freddy ran out of power, and like because the story forced us to, right before you learn how to distract Chica by knocking over the paint cans, I figured that the way to get out of him when I was stuck would just be to wait and let him run out of power, so that I wouldn't have to lose progress since I hadn't gotten the chance to save in a while, because that's just how the game was set up. So I waited, and then when he ran out of power, I died, resetting me to my last save point. So all I did at that point was waste time, all because this game had established that if you ran out of power, he would kick you out and run to a recharge station. That's why I'm deciding to use that last little bit of power to open up his stomach, tear us out, and then rip us a new one is one of the worst things that Freddy has or could have done. Okay, it's like the death coin in FNAF. If you establish something, you keep it the same way. God. And at 4, tired voice. You won't get tired of my voice, will you? Unfortunately, Chica, yes I will, because this line is one of the most piercing in all of FNAF world. Chica's voice in this game gets so incredibly irritating that if you manage to not get tired of it, or just not just like throw your fist through your monitor, I'll end up being impressed. There's a lot of criticism for FNAF World, okay? There's a lot of hate towards it, some of which I find unsubstantiated. However, any anger or jokes made towards Chica's voice I find totally understandable, okay? I get it. And I'm not saying that the voice actress did a poor job. Amber Lee Connors did an excellent job, but they did such a good job with making her intentionally irritating. If you didn't know, okay, Amber Lee Connors also voices Toy Chica in Ultimate Custom Night, which is probably why the whole "you won't get tired of dying, will you" line is in Ultimate Custom Night. However, in Ultimate Custom Night, it's much more digestible. And no, I'm not saying that she did a good job because her last name is Connors, and there also is no relation, by the way. I know someone's gonna say it in the comments. When someone's last name is similar to someone else's first, that's not how family works, okay? Unless they change their last name due to marriage or just because they wanted to. To be fair though, if she is related to me, I haven't seen her at any of the family reunions, at least when we had those. Thank God we don't anymore. Damn, I didn't like that. Getting close to the end, and at number 3, lies. Speaking of the whole needing to recharge thing, where did that BS come from? None of the other animatronics seemingly need to charge every hour, and like I said, he doesn't lose power unless we're piloting him. And then when the hour in game rolls around, we don't get into the recharge station because he needs to charge. We get in to avoid the daycare attendant, okay? It's almost as if they released him so that Freddy getting in the recharge station every hour would make sense despite him not needing to do that. Oh wait, they would only do that if he was evil. And he needs to recharge basically every other minute if we're actually going by in-game time, since the time only moves as you progress through the story. Standing in one place, draining him of all of his power basically means that he loses all of his power in a microsecond in-game, which is insane. So, like, what's going on here? What's with the other lies that he's been spitting this whole time? Because it isn't the only thing. And there are so many other suspicious moments in this game that we could do a whole list about how Gregory got lucky just by the sheer stupidity of other characters. Actually, write that down. But ultimately, in at number 2, betrayed me. So you know what? This is more of a personal beef that I have with Chica, because straight up in every single FNAF game, she has betrayed me. Whether it be FNAF 1 through FNAF 9, Chica always betrays me in some fashion one way or another. Usually it's by being evil and trying to kill me, but in Sister Location, she betrayed me by not even being there, alright? She legit ghosted me, so I saw no point in even playing that game. It's certainly a rough one. I mean, like, can you imagine what sort of relationship dynamic that would be like? It's always having your advances rejected despite being together for years, never feeling truly wanted, and if you don't initiate things, it would look like you're just friends, and them literally being asked who their crush is, and even though you're sitting right beside her, she ends up putting everyone and then doesn't understand why you would get mad or upset despite you having expressed this multiple times. But whenever you do, she ends up trying to turn it around on you and makes you feel bad about being upset so that they never have to take any responsibility for their actions. And then they lie to you about multiple things, including being a victim of the thing that you hate the most in the world after you found the strength to end things, just so that they can get one last thing out of you. Sorry, what were we talking about? Projecting. And finally, in at number 1, Afton controlled. Okay, now I guess that if you want to think about it like this, being controlled by Afton's virus and security breach isn't her fault, but if we think about this logically, if Freddy was able to glitch out and then not be controlled, couldn't that also have happened to Chica? And without speculation, like Freddy's glitched because he's possessed or whatever, just using facts, Chica could have also glitched. And you know what? That's good enough for me. Plus, whether she did it willingly or not, she was controlled by Afton's virus, and she did some terrible things while under his influence. She dug his corpse out of the rubble of the FNAF 6 pizzeria, causing great frustration to anyone who actually cares about the story of the series, but also because she's controlled by Afton, and once again betrays me by chasing me around the Pizzaplex. And not only that, but she did so while also being modded into horrifying other things. And like, sure, the mods aren't her fault, but technically speaking, installing one of those mods puts your game into another FNAF Earth where it is canon. It's not canon to the main universe, but it is, like, in the FNAF, the grand scheme of the FNAF multiverse, there is an Earth where Chica is running around without fake animatronic plastic clothing trying to kill me. So yeah, needless to say, that's pretty damn horrible, mostly because it's an alternate Earth where she's doing that and not the main one. And at 10, crushed Elizabeth. I mean, don't get me wrong, okay? Some specific kids make me understand William's whole MO, but the fact that he made these robots, especially the Fun Times, specifically to kill, and the first kid they kill is his own daughter. That's some serious karma, man. But considering how horrific Baby becomes after this thanks to Elizabeth, I feel like she might have had it coming, okay? Girl was a lot more like her father than she really should have been, honestly. Well, yes, crushing any kid would have been bad, but like, your creator's daughter? Seriously? Like, why was there no blacklist for kids that you shouldn't grab? Like, you have animatronics that can walk on their own, advanced AI, facial recognition technology, but you can't make a goddamn program that says, do not kill these kids, they come from my loins? Like, bro, if you ask me, you had it coming. Like, who tells their kids not to do something and then actually expects them to listen? Especially when it was built to attract and lure kids. And when they're that young. Like, seriously, William is stupid. But this was still a messed up thing for Baby to do. And this is why she's more so Afton's creation than the other ones, because she's literally also his kid. And at 9, fought Ennard. FNAF 5 to 6 had some serious changes. Baby went from being a part of Ennard in FNAF 5 to her own separate animatronic again, with seemingly no explanation in FNAF 6. Well, no explanation if you're not really a FNAF fan, since we all know that the interaction that caused this unfortunate split actually took place within the source code of Scott Cawthon's websites, where the two, ScottGames.com and FNAFWorld.com, were arguing, which resulted in Baby getting voted off the island. But honestly, thinking about it, this was a pretty dumb idea for her. Like, it seems that Molten Freddy is the one controlling the blob from FNAF Security Breach, since they're the face that the blob prefers to use to jump scare the player and interact with Afton, even though it's more Funtime Freddy and not Molten Freddy. But we also know that Molten Freddy is just the remains of Ennard after Baby got kicked out, hence why it dropped the whole clown aesthetic. It's also worth noting that Baby's face is on the blob, except it's missing the red light in its eyes, meaning that its soul is probably not contained within the animatronic amalgam. So if Baby had stayed a part of Ennard, she might still be fighting. Of course, we can't be certain that she's not possessing something else, but we can't be sure that she is either. And at 8, Afton Amalgam. One of the biggest twists from the Fazbear Frights book's epilogue stories is that they end up fighting a giant trash rabbit known as the Afton Amalgam. Yeah, But then a mysterious black blob is revealed to be behind everything. This blob was controlled by Baby, or I guess Elizabeth. Either way, at this point, it's the same thing. I'm guessing this reveal was originally intended to happen after Security Breach was released, given the original release date of the game, which would have made this much more rewarding and an actual, like, big reveal. But Baby was literally revealed to be controlling a version of her father, the man who got her killed by creating a robot designed to kill, the man who killed her brother in the same way, who killed 5 additional kids, at least, who wanted to bring her brother back as an animatronic. She controlled a version of him and still wanted to make him proud. At least she ended up abandoning him, but not for any moral reasons, but because she knew that the battle was lost and wanted to live to fight another day. Okay, well I say live, but in reality just she didn't want to be destroyed since she's dead and possessing stuff. She's not really alive, but like, you know what I mean, okay? And at 7, loves trash. Chica loves trash, and you know what, this could mean many things actually. Like, it could mean that she loves garbage, or reality TV, or YouTube content, me, but in this case it means the first one, okay? Chica loves to eat trash. Garbage. Which is certainly interesting when she has a whole thing about being fit and keeping herself in shape in Security Breach with her whole mazer size thing. I guess that she's just literally any Instagram model ever. But her fascination with trash is certainly interesting from like a story standpoint as well. Cause like, why? Why does she all of a sudden love to eat trash when we know that her character loves pizza instead? My theory is that it's due to maybe Afton and his control, since these robots are in a way an extension of him, and it would mean that Afton is just trying to eat trash in an attempt to keep himself going maybe, but I don't know. It's just a half-baked idea. A FNAF baked idea. That's a good name for a podcast. I should say that like MatPat though. A FNAF baked idea. Thanks for watching. And at 6, scrapped. While she did end up fighting the rest of Ennard and getting kicked out, resulting in the creation of Molten Freddy, she also ended up having to remake herself, or at least give herself another shell, as well as seemingly another arm, since you know, now we see a giant claw on her left arm. However, you want to know something interesting? According to the Freddy Files Updated Edition, the Bible of the FNAF franchise basically, the claw on her left arm is the same one from her stomach, meaning that Elizabeth knowingly attached the claw that resulted in her death to her arm. And that's absolutely terrifying. Like, this chick is like, yeah, this thing killed me, so let's put it on my arm so I have better access to it. You know, just in case I need to use it for whatever reason. So yeah, this laced up her sneakers, thought, oh, what if I need to kill someone today? And said might as well claw them to death with this monstrosity that killed me. Do you people not realize how absolutely nuts that is? Like, that's... bro. Halfway through in at number 5, definitely evil. Okay, now I know that nobody wants to believe me on this, and I understand why. We all want to hold out hope that finally one of the animatronics is good and trying to help us. But Glamrock Freddy is almost certainly evil and just waiting for the perfect moment to strike. We have also made a whole video on this as well, so if you want to check that one out, please do. But like, this guy makes some hella sketchy choices throughout our entire time at the Pizzaplex that only makes things worse for us. He takes us to get healed despite us saying no and having a limited time to actually get out of the Pizzaplex, which then makes us get locked inside, especially because that 30 seconds would have actually gotten us out the door. We also just sit in the booth when we're supposed to be getting healed and don't actually get healed, by the way. He was unable to access the main Pizzaplex network despite having no reason to be disconnected from it because he wasn't supposed to be suspected, and after Vanessa leaves Freddy without his head and parts in service, she sees him fully reassembled in less than 5 minutes and doesn't question it, almost like it was the plan the whole time. There is literally no other living human in the Pizzaplex, okay? Especially at this point. So who else could have put him back together? There are no robots that are doing that because there's precautions to keep humans safe aside from the one in the cylinder, and we don't see any actual staff bots near that area, okay? The only thing that makes sense is that Freddy is secretly evil, and maybe even he doesn't know it, but either way, he's gonna turn on us, okay? I'm calling it. It's gonna happen. And at 4, killed technicians. The technicians were 2 employees of Fazbear Entertainment Inc., who used to work with the Funtime animatronics of Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental. One technician is soft-spoken and seems bored with his job, implying that he may be used to it, while the other, who speaks with using a Brooklyn accent, appears to be less experienced and more uneasy with the environment of Circus Baby's Entertainment and Rental from FNAF's sister location. Same. The two technicians appear for the first time during night 4 when they use the scooper on Ballora, and then during night 5, their dead bodies are seen hanging in the Ballora Gallery and the Funtime Auditorium. They are assumed to have been killed by Baby and the gang, which sounds like a really weird band. However, there is also the theory that they've been dead for a while, or aren't even real, and Baby was just mimicking their voices so that she could manipulate the situation for you to trust her. However, I mean, these are like the first people aside from ourselves and any 8-bit minigames where we've actually seen someone die. Like every dead body that we've seen has been pixelated in a minigame up until this point, and they are also the first humans in all of FNAF to get their full bodies shown, even if it was through a shadow. But I don't know. Do you think that these were real or were they dummies? Make sure you let me know down in the comments. Getting close to the end into number 3, cliffhanger. I love stories. I love telling stories, I love hearing stories, I love reading stories. Most of my favorite stories involve time travel, but I also love TV. And one thing that TV is really good at is keeping you hooked with cliffhangers. The issue is, that only works for TV. When I'm playing a game, I don't want to be left on a cliffhanger and then not have it be resolved that same game. That just feels like it's a way to try and force me to buy the next game so I can see the conclusion of how that plays out. Freddy, though, definitely provides us with a couple cliffhangers that never get resolved in Security Breach no matter how hard you look. Most notably, I think, are There Is No Bunny in This Pizzaplex Not Anymore and You Look Different to Me. The first one, of course, being in reference to Bonnie after Monty seemingly smashed him, and while we may not have gotten a confirmed explanation, at the very least we got that one duffel bag that explains that it was most likely Monty's fault that Bonnie isn't here. However, that second one, You Look Different to Me, is what Freddy says after we install Roxy's eyes onto him. Okay, he says that we look different to him now, but then he never mentions that again since Moondrop decides to show up. Okay, I don't get it. Why? Why would you do this? It's mean, okay? I hate mysteries. They need to be solved. And the only explanation that makes sense is that Gregory is a robot, but there's like hard that we can't know, okay? God damn it, Freddy. Penultimately, in at number 2, Saved William. Assuming that Baby is in control of the blob like she is in the Fazbear Frights books, did she save Afton in the Security Breach true ending? While this ending was left vague for sequel purposes, I think it's not out of the question, especially since a load of people still want Afton to be alive for some reason. Like, why can't you just let the man die off permanently and then go rot in hell? Okay, like for real though. Ultimate Custom Night was supposed to be a form of hell, but not like actual hell. Like it was supposed to be in a eternal agony brought on by the vengeful spirit, but it wasn't actual hell. This man needs to suffer for his actions, okay? Even Satan would be appalled by this dude's crimes. Like gluttony, lust, greed, you do those things, you go downstairs a legend. But just offing a bunch of kids because you wanted to, and then discovering that it could make you immortal is just hella messed up. Like I've said that Satan wouldn't have approved of many things, particularly a load of versions of spiders from video games. But Satan wouldn't even like this guy, okay? Just like toss him in the empty or something, and he'd let him be alone forever. Something like that. Like goddamn. And then Baby saves this man? The man who got her killed? Yeah, that's definitely one of the worst things she's done, even like especially to her own psyche. And finally, in at number 1, Betrayal. Top 10 worst anime betrayals, but it's FNAF. In Sister Location, we thought that we actually had the first nice animatronic, like basically a prototype for Glamrock Freddy. Baby was giving us tips on how to survive, she helped us get through Ballora's gallery, she really seemed like she wanted us to live. But then, what do we get for trusting her? Scooped and stuffed, just like a Thanksgiving turkey. This was probably one of the most brutal things to happen to a character in the entire series, and it's all because we trusted Baby. She made us feel safe, she gave us confidence, she prevented us from getting killed, only to use our body as a skin suit, and then get kicked out of Ennard not even a game later. This is why I didn't trust Glamrock Freddy. Baby is legit one of the reasons that I have trust issues, and that's saying something. Like, holy damn. Okay, I could have sworn that Glamrock Freddy was going to do the exact same thing. Then, like, he would lead us down to Afton and then pull like a psych, I've been working for this bag the whole time, motherfucker, time to die. But he didn't. However, thanks to Baby, I still think that this man is doing a long con. And at 10 turns on us. The reason this is going to be our number 10 slot is because, well, technically it isn't Freddy that's turning on us. Technically speaking, it's William Afton taking control of Freddy's body and making him turn on us. So yeah, it's kind of up in the air. During the final boss fight, Freddy can be hacked by Burn Trap, and when this is going on, he'll stand in the middle of the room as a hazard and just start like jibbing out. If Burn Trap ends up successfully hacking him, meaning that you don't burn him before a timer runs out, Glamrock Freddy will chase after and kill Gregory, either by just like running at you or by pulling him out of his stomach if, you know, you're inside of Freddy when he's getting tortured, which is weird. That's a whole other issue. Gregory can still lure Freddy out of the way when he is being taken over though by calling him over to a different spot, hitting the right button, whatever version you're on. But I mean, like, come on, okay? Like, how is it that Freddy can't resist this at this point? Like, yeah, sure, it's Afton directly tapping into you, but he's also using a computer as a proxy. So it's basically the same thing as the original glitch trap virus that he ended up stopping somehow in the opening credits, okay? I don't know how this was supposed to make sense in universe, but either way, it's stupid, and Glamrock Freddy should be ashamed that this could have happened, even if canonically it didn't. But I still do think that Freddy is evil, okay? Check up in the top right corner, whichever one that ends up being, for the video explaining why, because yeah, it's a long one, if I remember. Ennard 9, copyright infringement. Okay, technically I don't think that this is actually copyright infringement, and it's more so a reference to a well-known figure, but it's definitely something that needs to be mentioned. At this point, I think everyone knows about the Glamrock Freddy pose that's meant to be a reference to Freddie Mercury, right? Yeah, I feel like it's a thing. The one from the introduction, and I think it was also maybe in the trailers. Well, I'm gonna use this number to be like a YouTube comment section and say that he's stealing it rather than making a reference, because whenever I say something as a reference to someone else, even subtly, so that only those who actually watch those other YouTubers would understand, people say that I'm trying to steal their thing, or that I'm taking it. Like, dude, bro, it's a reference, it's an homage, okay? Of course me saying that it's just a theory, a game theory is meant to be MatPat, okay? It's not me trying to steal it. Obviously, everyone knows where it comes from. You come here in between MatPat theories on FNAF, okay? Like, the same thing happens when I'm calling Chica mommy, or doing the Eddie VR whistle, okay? That was terrible. It's a reference, okay? But everyone in the comments every time says that I'm stealing it. So I'm going to apply that logic to Freddy and say that he's stealing this pose, okay? Now watch all those same commenters that were attacking me come to defend Freddy now, okay? I'm gonna, you know what? I said defriend, leave it in too, okay? I don't care. Ennard 8 carries us. While yes, ripping us out of your stomach and tearing us to shreds with that last bit of power you have left is stupid, putting us in that chamber in the first place was a pretty goddamn stupid idea, and it was probably just at least equally as stupid. I mean, like, he even said it himself that it was a bad idea, but even after saying that, he lets us crawl inside anyway. And there were so many other options. Okay, I'll discuss the biggest issue later on, but seriously, why did he think that this would result in anything other than our death? It's a miracle that it didn't, honestly, especially when we're inside his stomach while he's getting recharged. This dude needs so much power that to fix him we need to juice him with a damn car battery, but we're just sitting inside him while he's getting all that power back from a station inside of him, where the wires and robotic parts are. How did we not get electrocuted, okay? Like, yeah, we deal with a lot of dangerous things throughout this game, but running around inside Freddy is supposed to be the safe space according to the game. But looking at it logically, it might even have been the worst idea of all. Ennard 7 tackles Vanny. Okay, so, yeah, sure, this is a good thing because he's, tackling the bad guy, but let's be honest, Freddy is kind of dumb, and his critical thinking skills are lacking to say the least. If you think about it, he doesn't really think through any of his decisions despite being an incredibly advanced AI. When we're on the top of the Pizzaplex in the rooftop ending, after Freddy sets fire to the Pizzaplex below us without a real proper way out planned, we get to the roof of a burning building and meet Vanny. No idea how she got up there before us, but that's not the point right now. But after being able to see her with Roxy's eyes, he tackles her off the roof of a burning building. Now, originally I questioned our escape plan, okay, but Gregory does then run down the fire escape afterwards. But if he was so concerned about Vanny, why wouldn't Freddy just grab us and run? Like, why did he tackle her? It seems like the dumbest decision because, Freddy left us on the top of a burning building when we're basically the size of a 4-year-old. Like, I get that she's a bad person, but if she came after you when you were with Gregory, couldn't at that point you then just punch her or do whatever, okay? Your priority isn't to defend Gregory if you're just leaving us on the top of a burning building. Heat rises, my dude. We would have been screwed. And that fire escape, damn, that's gonna be hot. Ennard 6 power. What is the deal with this guy and actually needing to recharge like every 5 minutes? Okay, in like the game sense, time isn't really moving when I'm running around for 5 hours since I haven't actually progressed the story. So if this animatronic is supposed to need to recharge every hour only, why is this such a big issue? And why does he only use power when we're actually inside of him like a mech, okay? Like, if this was the case, shouldn't this man be losing power when we summon him to like grab us down in the 3rd basement floor? And why does he need to recharge but seemingly all the other animatronics don't? Okay, I never see Chica, Roxy, or Monty in a recharge station. Even if you're around where they should be around, or like where they should be in a recharge station when the hour hits, okay? It's stupid, it's confusing, and it doesn't make any sense. It's almost like Freddy is doing this to us on purpose, either because he thinks it's funny, or maybe he really is working for Vanny but needs to gain our trust and makes excuses for why he can't be around us all the time so then he can go and sneak off and tell Vanny what's going on. Or why we can't just like hide inside of him all night, okay? There's something fishy going on with this animatronic, and I swear in the next game we're gonna find out that he ended up betraying us and ripping us to shreds off screen. Halfway through into number 5, Eternal Burning. Speaking of Ultimate Custom Night, I know that I just said the crying child is the reason that everything is happening, okay? Which would mean that this isn't Chica's fault, and I guess if these are manifestations created by crying child in Afton's brain, then they aren't even really Chica, but I needed more numbers for this list, honestly, okay? And while it may not be actually Chica, the vengeful spirit certainly thinks that they would do these things or say these things, so I can really find any justification to include whatever I want on this list, okay? So you just gotta deal with it. It's not like I can change the list at this point anyway. It's been edited, uploaded, you're watching it right now, so don't hate comment. Basically though, this number, I just want to focus on Jacko Chica and her line of "the fire within me burns eternal and now you shall as well," which is total BS. Just because you've suffered doesn't mean that I should have to suffer as well. That's like the parenting technique where if they think their childhood sucked, yours has to as well. Or like when like parents try and dismiss your feelings saying that they had things worse. Like, I get that you're bitter, okay, but shouldn't the point of being a parent be to give your kids a better life than you had? Or at least try to do so? Like, what's the point in saying that I had to deal with this growing up so now you have to suffer as well? That's basically the vibes that I'm getting off of this line, and honestly, it's triggering. I'm going to be unpacking this in therapy tonight. In it for Monty's claws. Monty's whole personality is destroying things, okay? He likes to do it and is capable of doing it because of the claws that they installed onto his character so that he could pluck the strings of the bass guitar. I guess animatronics don't like using guitar picks for some reason. Either way, when Freddy gets these claws, he's also able to start destroying things and breaking open barriers, which is just kind of weird when you think about it. Like, was Monty this way before getting the claws? Because if he was, he couldn't really do much damage, since we needed the claws to even be able to smash through small fence gates. So if he already was like that, why would they have given him the death machines for hands? Or wasn't that like the hands gave him the ability to smash things, which turned into him smashing everything he could? I mean, it's definitely possible, okay? We've seen weirder come out of the FNAF series, and if that was the way that this played out, would it also happen for Freddy? Like, is Freddy going to see how much he likes smashing stuff and then just go absolutely bananas? I think it could happen, and even if it doesn't, the fact that Freddy has these destructive capabilities and then just doesn't punch out the other animatronics during the final boss fight, friends or not, especially when Afton isn't trying to take control of him, like when Roxy comes in and you have to crawl inside and then scream. Yeah, why didn't he just punch her out then? Okay, that's messed up. He could have done so much more, but he just chose not to. Getting close to the end, and in number 3, impersonation. Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. Especially not when it's an animatronic impersonating a kid. Yep, that's right, ya heard correctly. Baby in the FNAF novels ends up impersonating Charlie, but not teen Charlie. Nope, instead she ends up impersonating adult Charlie, because the books weren't complicated enough already. Basically, in the novels, Baby has the ability to change between a realistic looking human and her normal circus baby look. She can do this thanks to the pin structures covering her body. No idea how that helps her go from a 7-foot tall animatronic to a 5'9" woman, but oh well. Anyways, for some reason, Baby and Charlie's adult robot versions are the same robot. It's unclear why. Since Henry made a series of 4 robots for Charlie after Afton killed her in 1983, which doesn't make sense given what we know about the timeline already, but I guess it would have to be different in the books, because at that point, Elizabeth would have already been killed by an already created baby animatronic, meaning that Henry would have made the first 3 robots from scratch, but thought, nah, I'll turn the adult one into a human from this robot robot here, and it just so happened to be Elizabeth Afton's possessed bot. But honestly, there are a whole load of plot holes in the books, so we'll just ignore it. We'll push it to the side, you know? Either way, identity theft isn't cool. And boy, don't I know it. My dad removes the labels off of any mail we get and he shreds it, okay? He even made us rip our names off of papers when it has our names on it. Like, even if it's schoolwork and it just had my first name or whatever it was, so that he would make us rip it off, rip that corner off so that people couldn't steal our identity. And now my name is just out there on the internet for everyone to see. So, you're welcome, Dad. Did anyone else's parents do that, or was it just the fact that my dad is the crazy paranoid uncle? But ultimately, in at number 2, staying until 6. Glamrock Freddy straight up encourages Gregory to risk his life in order to get out of the Pizzaplex, when in all honesty, the safest thing to do would just be to keep him in your stomach or in your green room until 6 a.m., especially after the door had closed and he was definitely stuck. Okay, there was no need for this daycare secret escape hatch BS. Okay, you could have just gone back the way you came and everything would have been fine. You would have not been suspicious since you'd have at least appeared like you listened to Vanessa, then went back to your room after she told you to, and then Gregory would have been safe, especially after you knew that there was a crazy bunny bitch running around the Pizzaplex trying to slaughter him. So yeah, if Glamrock Freddy is possessed by Michael, he did a horrible job being a surrogate older brother or whatever the situation is, okay? That kind of hurts the whole he's there to protect Gregory because of the crying child thing. You can think of all the excuses for him that you want, okay? But if Gregory had just waited in Freddy's green room, everything would have been fine. Vanessa would have had no reason to check there since she didn't have at any point throughout the game, even when Freddy pops back up 5 minutes after being left in parts and service with his freaking head removed. Like, who else is going to put him back together aside from Gregory? Like, you could have simply let Gregory stay with you in your room or kept him in your cake hole in your chest until 6 a.m. because we can go into recharge stations with him. Okay, so why couldn't we just chill in his chest the whole time if it was actually that safe, okay? God damn it. I hate this series. And finally, in at number 1, selfish. This whole list is going to make so many people angry, but I think that this number especially is going to make those hardcore Freddy stans absolutely furious, and I think that's hilarious. Glamrock Freddy, no matter what way you slice it, is selfish. Some people assume that he's possessed by Michael Afton, okay? I just mentioned it, which, if it is true, that means that he's only protecting you because he feels bad and thinks that he caused his brother's death, which he partly did. Or, if he isn't possessed by Michael Afton, this Freddy is very loose with his so-called moral code. He tells you not to hurt his friends and that he doesn't want their upgrades, but then he takes them anyway. You could argue that it's in his programming because like we hit the button on the monitor or whatever, but it's also supposed to be in his programming to hunt us down. Obviously, he isn't really working through his normal specs, but nevertheless, after hearing about the brutal mutilation of his friends, he still lets you install these upgrades into his body and then doesn't bat an eye about how you got them or that, you know, his friends are in his body now. It's incredibly messed up when you really think about it, okay? Basically, in this game, Gregory is a black market organ harvester and dealer, but for animatronics. And Freddy doesn't care, because it gets him a cool new ability. Yeah, that's right, I said it. In a 10 repair cost. Now, I get that in this moment, Freddy is trying to be a hero, okay, but this guy doesn't think through any of his plans. Because in the Fazer Blast ending, this man is just wailing on the Vanny staff bots or getting himself torn to shreds. And sure, he was trying to protect Gregory or whatever, but this man destroyed multiple staff bots only to get himself destroyed in the process. Like, why fight them off when we can, I don't know, run away and escape? And even if you don't want to think about other options, okay, think about the repair cost that comes with reassembling those bots and Freddy. Like, dude, you could have told Gregory to run and then gotten yourself destroyed, which would not only have saved the company money, but also probably resulted in you not getting reprogrammed when you're reconstructed. So this time, way to go, buddy. You ruined yourself. You could have been rebuilt the way you were, okay, all protective and whatnot, but instead, now they know that you're violent against anyone who's actually affiliated with the company, so now they're gonna reprogram you. Well done. In at 9, possibly possessed. This is only a possibility, hence why it's at number 9, but there is evidence for it. But whether you believe it or not, okay, okay? Glamrock Freddy being possessed only ends poorly for him. I mean, seriously, if this is Michael inside of Glamrock Freddy somehow, this only makes the character worse because Michael isn't a good person, or rather is only a good person to make himself feel better, and doesn't really do anything all that good throughout the series. The happiest day minigame was seemingly the puppet throwing the party to release the spirits. Fire in FNAF 6 was set by Henry, suggesting that he was also the one who set the FNAF 3 fire. Oh, and Michael? He ended up freeing 5 killer robots from a secret underground storage and testing facility after his psycho serial killer dad asked him to go down there and check it out, after he knew that his father was a serial killer, assuming that this takes place around the same time as FNAF 3, given the burned down Fazbear Frights in the end of the sister location final scene, or even just after 1993, which would make sense. So yeah, if Glamrock Freddy is possessed, that guy. In at 8, FNAF AR. Okay, now this isn't exactly Glamrock Freddy's fault or his doing, but way back in December of 2020, Kieran Sinha, the CEO of Illumix, the company behind FNAF AR, told Daco in an interview that Glamrock Freddy was confirmed to be added to FNAF AR Special Delivery in the future, but it's been nearly 2 years and Freddy, nor any other security breach animatronic, has actually been added. Now, this is bad no matter what way you look at it, okay? Like whether he gets added or not, okay? If he doesn't get added, then people are going to be disappointed, but if he does get added, then it's going to be a mess with so much of the supposed story that we get in Security Breach just not making sense anymore. Since the whole point of FNAF AR is that these are animatronics being sent out to families to rebuild their reputation. However, this means that there must be multiple of these animatronics to send out. So there would be a warehouse full of multiple Glamrock Freddys. But we're led to believe in-game that if Freddy goes missing, Monty ends up taking over as the leader of the band. But if that is the case, why wouldn't they just use one of the other Glamrock Freddy models? Or slap his casing on a new endo like Vanessa suggests in Parts and Service. Adding Freddy to Special Delivery only makes things more complicated, but if he doesn't get added, people will get mad. So you know what? Might as well make them angry mad instead of insane mad, you know? Because we're trying to figure out the damn lore, and that would drive me literally crazy. And it's 7 stupid answers. Okay, look, I get the idea that stupid questions get stupid answers, but honestly, for being this advanced of an AI, this guy is dumb as hell. Oh, what was that? Oh, that's a fountain. Really? No shit, Sherlock. Of course it's a fountain. What are you on about? Okay, I get that you can't see Vanny, but given the CRT effects that we get when she's around, assuming that we are human, there is no way that you can't even feel that something was different there, okay? My question is, why are you unable to see her? But you can then see her when you get Roxy's eyes? That seems so stupid to me. Like, why would you block every animatronic but Roxy from seeing you? And if you didn't block every animatronic and only blocked Freddy, why? What would have been the point of that? The whole point of this is that nobody is suspicious of Freddy actually being the guy who's helping Gregory, okay? Even after Vanessa leaves Freddy with his head removed in the Parts and Service room, and then like 5 minutes later he can walk in front of her without her even batting an eye. So why would they make him unable to see Vanny? It's like whatever stupid blind spot they made or not, okay? Dude answers multiple questions with stupid answers that don't help anyone, alright? It's annoying. He could have done so much more. And at 6, harboring a criminal. The idea of protecting Freddy at first seems like a noble one. However, the more you look at it and the worse you see the world, you end up seeing things in my perspective. And this protecting a defenseless kid idea turns into Freddy harboring a criminal, since as I've explained in the past, Gregory has committed multiple crimes. We in fact have a whole list on the crimes that Gregory has committed. From trespassing to murder, this kid has done a lot, and Freddy defends him the entire time. Sure, it's against bad people, but it doesn't mean that this kid is, like, in the clear, okay? It's messed up. He steals security badges, hundreds of dollars worth of merch, he destroys animatronics, he ends up killing Vanny in the Phaser Blast ending, and even steals Freddy in most of the other endings, which is grand larceny. This kid is a criminal, and Freddy encourages this behavior. He encourages and gives him the information required for Gregory to commit fraud with the daycare pass. He encourages Gregory to steal the security badges. He tells Gregory not to hurt his friends, but doesn't really do anything more than that. Gotta love the plausible deniability there. If he isn't even harboring a criminal, then he is most definitely an accomplice. So no matter what, this is not a good thing. Halfway through into number 5, impress daddy. Along the same note of, oh, I wanted that arm in case I needed to sever anybody's body parts or something. We know that's why she has it and not for self-defense. Before Henry cuts her off during the true ending to the game though, Baby goes on a bit of a rant thinking that she won. Quote, "You played right into our hands. Did you really think this job just fell out of the sky for you? No, it was a gift for us. You gathered them all together in one place, just like he asked you to. All of those little souls in one place, just for us. A gift. Now we can do what we were created to do and be complete. I will make you proud, Daddy. Watch, listen, and be full. Does that sound like someone who wanted to be saved? No, she wants to impress her father, someone she knows was behind her death, and then every death after hers. She wants to kill for her father. And this lines up with so many other versions of her as well. Like I said earlier, the Afton amalgam. She ended up fighting with her father until she knew the battle was lost. However, she didn't stop trying to impress him. And the same remains true here. It's messed up, okay? A little girl getting killed accidentally only for her to want to join her father's crusade? That's messed up. In at 4, On Your Own. Now, given that there are 3 psycho animatronics roaming the Pizzaplex, ignoring all laws of robotics and trying to kill humans, why is it that the one animatronic trying to protect us is constantly leaving us? Okay? Like originally, he left us so that he could charge or whatever, but after we get the tutorial and then we can have him like call and we can call him to us, he never needs to recharge again, seemingly. I mean, like, come on. Okay? As long as you're not inside of his stomach, he doesn't lose power, which means that this man could be following us the entire time that we do all of these missions, but he doesn't. The game provides some excuses for certain areas, like he can't crawl under the door to El Chips, which is a total lie, because he definitely could. Or that if he touches the dance floor, he won't be able to stop himself from grooving. But why doesn't he follow us literally the rest of the time? Okay, it seems stupid to leave this small child on his own when 3 of your friends are trying to kill him. There's also a psycho bunny bitch running around, and a daycare attendant who definitely wants to do disturbing things to him every hour, okay? Why would you leave that kid alone? It's irresponsible and goes against everything we're supposed to believe about this guy, but we just accept it. Getting close to the end. In at number 3, Fitness Icon. Chica's mazer size and security breach is a way to keep kids active and healthy while also giving them an excuse to eat more of the Pizzaplex's junk, which is honestly an incredible marketing ploy. So good on Fazbear Entertainment and for Scott for figuring that one out, but you know what? It sucks for Chica. It also serves as a way to get all of the FNAF snobs off his back when they ask how Chica lost all that weight. Because apparently animatronics need active ways to lose weight and it's important to the lore of the story. I don't know, I guess people forget that it's a company and characters go through design changes all the time. I want those same people to ask CEC Entertainment how Chucky lost all the weight from Chuck E. Cheese, and then he also turned into a tiny mouse when he was originally human sized. Actually, at this point, I think that FNAF is more successful than Chuck E. Cheese, so I'm gonna drop that. But either way, it seems like now in the FNAF world, Chica is like the fitness icon, the likes of Jenny Craig. With the same amount of terribly evil business models. So yeah, that's going on the list. But ultimately, in at number 2, No Warning. Okay, so Freddy can seemingly sense the other animatronics, or at least knows when Gregory is in danger somehow. Not quite sure how that works, but that's not the point I'm trying to make here. What I'm thinking is that if this guy can sense radio waves or connect to the main server whenever he isn't cut off from it for whatever reason, why didn't he warn us about the blob and how it's a total freak show when we encounter it on our way down to the Afton ending? Okay, I mean, like, the game requires us to be in Freddy at this point, otherwise we get insta-killed by the blob as we pass it. So why isn't Freddy questioning this giant mass of metal, tentacles, animatronic faces, and possibly even souls? Not even the slightest hint about it, especially since at this point he has Roxy's eyes, which allows him to see through walls and spot discs that would be hidden otherwise. So like, where's my warning, bro? Not even a little heads up saying like, oh yeah, we might have to worry about this thing. I can tell that it's at least semi-functional. No? Alright. And finally, in at number 1, Dugout Afton. Speaking of the Afton ending, while on our way down to it, Freddy straight up admits to being down here before. Quote from Freddy, "I know what this is. I have been here before. She brought me here. I found myself for the first time when I cleared the path. I did not want to, but I had no choice. Now I have a choice. I have changed. My friends are here. They are so angry, confused, but I can protect you." Hold on. Why is it that now you have a choice? Okay, what actually changed? Because some random kid being in the crowd and then being counted as a security breach could not have glitched you out that badly that all of a sudden you have free will again. Especially since you didn't actually even meet or see Gregory until after after you've glitched out. He also claims to have become sentient down here, seemingly. Like, what else could I found myself for the first time when I cleared the path mean? And if he became sentient down there, why did he also not have any free will at that point? That makes absolutely no sense. None of this scene makes sense. But even though that's also messed up, and certainly something that is mega ultra sus, he still helped dig out Afton, which in my mind is the biggest sin of all. Okay, willing or not, he still did it, and as someone who wants Afton permadead, I cannot allow that to stand. So yeah, number one on this list, absolutely. Your angry comments that you are typing literally right now will have no effect on this, okay? So don't even bother. There's no point. I've already made the video. That's all the time we have for today, friends. Thank you all so much for watching. I have been Monroe, and I'll see you in another video unless Freddy suddenly turns evil and attacks me, which is going to happen. I'm calling it.